I can't overemphasize the importance of a personal photo, like you in front of the job site, family photo, if it's really just a direct advertisement for your business. It doesn't have to be like just the most ultra professional, super modern graphic design thing. Welcome to another. Today, we are talking about Facebook groups and what they are, how you can use them to generate leads, to have the snowball effect of being referred, recommended, and hired from local community members that are active in their Facebook groups. So, I'll start this off by saying that the logistics of Facebook groups. You can find your own by searching your town name in Facebook search bar, filtering by groups. And there's going to be, depending on the size of your town, if you're in a city, there's just a ton. But I'll use my town as an example, like what's happening in Brookings. There's one called Brookville. There's a common title is just the actual town and state. So you'll be able to kind of identify what these groups are, kind of reveal themselves. So there's even buy and sell trade groups that are a little low. Those are pretty low quality, but and what these groups are is local community members sharing community events, from garage sales, things that are happening in the community, parades, events, whatever it may be. Also, people are posting there asking for recommendations for home service providers, and gardening tips. I mean, you name it. It's kind of just your local town square, but Facebook version. And the application for handyman businesses and home service companies is that people are asking for recommendations for a handyman, for help installing doors or putting in a sliding barn door. Like people are asking for recommendations in there. And then the flip side of that, most of these groups allow businesses to post once per week for free to advertise their business, to showcase their services, whatever it may be. So the real application that you can engage and post to generate real leads, real customers, generate referrals, and to build reputation authority within your community by using Facebook groups. So that's kind of the premise here of why we're having this conversation. It's truly a no-brainer for most businesses out there. Kobe, I know you really work the Facebook groups, especially when you're developing your early traction, your handyman remodeling business. So I'd love to hear your story and experience with Facebook group.
Yeah, Facebook groups are so powerful and valuable. It's how I got my first clients when I started my handyman business. Was posting in Facebook groups, and there's a ton of different strategies here, tactics and strategies. And so I'll just kind of tell you what I did when I got started and kind of what it turned into over time.
Yeah.
When I first started, decided I was going to start a handyman business. You go create your Facebook page, logo in there, and all that stuff. Changed. But I was already a member of a bunch of different local Facebook groups that were pretty active. And it's going to be different, obviously, depending on where you live, the level of activity, and
Mhm.
some groups are better than others. I joined as many as I could. I was in the buy and sell groups, and again, relatively low quality, and people will get hired out of those groups, but generally, broad generalization, but at least in my area, the people that were advertising their services in those buy and sell groups, not somebody who would listen to this podcast, I guess is how
Yeah, it's
we'll
kind of a crapshoot to put a
yeah,
word to it. The buy sell group specifically, it's a lot of spam.
yeah, yeah. So how I got started is I joined all these groups, and when you join, they kind of post the rules, like how often you can advertise your business, if you can advertise your business at all. And I will say the ones I had the least luck with, aside from the buy sell groups, were the ones that were specifically created for business advertisements. There was a couple in my area
Mhm.
where it was, like advertise your business free, and you post in this Facebook group, and it's like your consumers aren't on there. It's just a bunch of business
Yeah.
owners that join this thing. So that's a tangent, but I joined I was already a member of a lot of the local ones that were active. I joined a bunch more.
What were some name
And
ideas just to jog the inspiration for what people are going to be looking for?
for as far as what to search for
What
Facebook
what
groups.
groups were you a part of? What were the names?
Yeah, so I joined like there's one called Bedford Unleashed. That's like the most popular one in my town, the town of Bedford.
Okay.
And I mean, it was everything from people arguing about politics in there. It was super, super active. I mean, it had tens of thousands of members. I think most of the community was in this
Uh-huh.
Facebook group. So I joined that one. And so one that really early on was super successful for me. It was Toledo Real Estate Investment. And so somebody created a group specifically for real estate investors, so people that flip houses, that have rental properties. They were both in-state and out-of-state investors. And these were people that were desperate, especially the out-of-state people, desperate to find a handyman to work on their properties. And so I made a post in there, and a one of the moderators of the group ended up reaching out to me and saying, "Hey, I'm putting together this Google spreadsheet, this sort of directory of service businesses that are relevant to people in this group, investors." And so they put me on this Google sheet as a handyman, and started getting calls from people in this group that told me they found me in this group and started working on flips and rentals and all of that sort of stuff. So that one was super valuable. And that one was a little bit more of a direct advertisement in there, like, hey, I'm Kobe. Here's my business. This is the type of stuff I do. If you need any help with these sorts of things, I'd love to talk to you. Here's my phone. Because at that time I didn't even have a website either, and that was effective. And so you also have to kind of know how to frame your post or adjust your post based on the group you're posting in. So one like that, it's full of my ideal clients that have these rental properties. They need a handyman. Like sort of post, like an advertisement for my business, would be encouraged. The one that I mentioned, Bedford Unleashed, where people are talking about politics and somebody lost their dog, and somebody's got their car for sale, like somebody's up for election, the township board of trustees or whatever. So all kinds of stuff going in there. A direct advertisement like that, where I'm just calling out, here's what I do, give me a call. That didn't prove to be as effective. So kind of getting a pulse on what the group is, like what the types of content that are in there, so you can kind of cater what you're going to post in there, to the group, and making sure that you're following the rules. If it says you can't post more than once a week, to advertise your business, follow those rules. Otherwise, you'll probably get kicked out of the group. So yeah, I mean, search for your local community. So just type in on Facebook search in the groups, like the different cities and towns that are in your service area,
Hmm.
and you'll find groups, and probably just join all of them, and then you'll be able to pretty quickly see which ones are active and which ones aren't active. And then any real estate groups. So I also joined some that just said, like Sylvania, Ohio, homes for sale, and I would post in there. And it's hard to know how many leads came from which group, but I didn't get kicked out of that group. They let me keep posting.
Hmm.
So just you're essentially just searching, like, the name of your town. Like, you're not going to join a group that's like southeastern Michigan sourdough community or something and
Yeah.
talk about your
Yeah.
handyman services, right? So you want to make sure
I'd be
it's a
bold.
community group, right? So that once you join the groups, again, you're going to get a pulse on how active they are, what the types of posts are. You're going to be able to cater your content to that. And just a kind of a side note, I found more luck posting, especially before I had a website, posting from my personal Facebook account and then linking my or tagging my business Facebook page, in the post, rather than posting from the business Facebook
Yeah.
page. It just shows I'm a real person. I'm from this community. So that's just kind of a side note, but I found that to be more effective. So
Yeah.
I've got more. I just rambled a whole bunch, but I want to give you a chance, Jason.
Yeah, man. So to your last point there, that's a Facebook algorithm. They prioritize real people, the personal profiles over businesses, which is a little bit more pay to play to get visibility. So great point. I'm glad you brought that up. We do recommend actually using your personal profile to make these posts and connecting yourself with the business. Like, hey, I'm Jason. I own Jason's Awesome Handyman Services. Love to be able to help you in your home around your project. Always include like a personal photo, you on the job, um, or what I call a digital business card. So basically, a professional kind of formatted like business card, digital image that's got your name, phone number, website address, email. It's going to set you apart from anyone else that's just doing a really quick, like grammar filled sentence of, I'm a handyman, I'm looking for work, let me know, kind of thing. So use your personal profile. So using photos also alongside that personal photo, or alongside that personal profile, it's going to help the algorithm like push your posts. And the reality too of these Facebook groups of why taking the time, and I'm going to ask you logistically how that worked for you, because it should not take that much time every single week to go through this process. So I'd love to hear how you did that. But um, whenever you like the algorithm side of these groups, people engage with Facebook groups more than they do with just their general feed. And by that, I mean people go into these groups looking for something, looking for advice or checking out some local event or something like that. So these groups they get a lot of engagement. And so therefore, your posts in there, especially ones that kind of get lit up, there's a little bit more engagement, highlighting a project, or if someone's asking for referrals for a handyman business, Facebook knows you're a handyman. It's going to show you that post. Um, the the visibility you'll get from leveraging these groups is far greater than you just posting organically to your page. Your actual business page is going to get significantly less traction, less visibility than if you just make from your personal profile a post into a group with a project photo, you in front of a house offering your services. That's going to get so much more visibility than just posting organically to your page. So that's something I wanted to call out common question that we get is, oh, well, should I just be posting my page or what? That's literally the question. Should I just be posting to my page? Because I'm empathetic that a lot of people are not Facebook wizards, and that's okay. You don't have to be. These groups, they get more visibility. They're far more worth your time. Not
That's
that
a
posting your page isn't valuable every once in a while, but the lead quality of visibility there is far greater.
it's a super 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 good point because you're what you're doing by posting these Facebook groups is you're essentially you're gaining free Facebook friends or followers. If a group's got 10,000 members and you've got 1,000 friends on Facebook, you post on your regular Facebook page, not in the group, it's going to be seen by your you know the people that are friends with you on Facebook, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and no and nobody else. These people already know you're in business. They already know you. You're getting it in front of a much 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 larger audience for free. It'd be like if you had tens of thousands of friends on Facebook that didn't actually know you.
Mm-hmm.
So you're it's a free audience that Facebook lets you put in front of people for free. Like why would you not do that? And in regards to the Facebook page, keeping up with your Facebook page and putting updates and project photos and all that sort of stuff in there is great. So when people click through or they want to do research on you, they see that content there. Awesome. But chances are, if people see your Facebook page or they're following your Facebook page, it's because they already know you. They found you somewhere else. You've already worked for them, and they followed your Facebook page. Unless you're like a wizard with organic content and you're gaining, some sort of organic audience on your Facebook page, the people following that and seeing that content that's just posted there are people that already know you or have interacted with you,
Mm-hmm.
generally speaking. And so posting these groups is a good way to get in front of new people for free. That's a super important point that you send.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, people are commenting, posting in there, and so therefore, Facebook algorithm shows them in their own personal feed more posts from that group than they would just all their friends, followers, businesses they follow, etc. So, as far as like how much time can one expect to invest in this? Like, what's the process? Because it can be very simple and systematized, and not really take up much time or mental space for you to conduct this activity every week. That will over time again over time got like most good marketing, all good marketing, especially if it's free or cheap, it takes time and consistency. Facebook groups is one of those. It's not going to just inject crazy growth in your business from one post. It takes time and consistency, but the time investment, the mental space invested is not very high. And that's why I love it as a grassroots strategy. So Kobe, walk us through like how you conducted that when you were really leveraging Facebook groups for your marketing strategy. What would your advice be to someone's looking to, you know, start using Facebook groups for their marketing? They maybe already are in a few. And like what's the process there? How should someone approach this to kind of maximize the value of their time every week?
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's not a huge time commitment, but first thing that I want to say is the end goal with Facebook groups, at least in my opinion, is you want other people, not you, in these Facebook groups recommending you. And we haven't talked about it much yet, but there's you making these posts in these Facebook groups, putting your business in front of people, and then there's people in these groups that are asking, hey, anybody know a good handyman, near me,
Hmm.
right? People are asking for this type of stuff. And so scanning these groups, periodically and seeing, hey, is somebody asking for the service that I offer, and then leaving a comment in there, also super, super effective. Like these people are actually, this person's looking for your service because they said it in their post. And just leaving a comment that's like, hey, I'm Kobe with Rust Belt Remodeling. Would love to have a conversation with you. We do this type of work, whatever it sounds like, something kind of friendly and organic, and either linking your Facebook page, or if you have a super nice professional website, you put the link to your website in the comment, and then Facebook kind of reformats it, and they put like the header image or whatever of your website in the comments, and it looks like, this is what it kind of reminded me of, like your digital business card.
Hmm.
It looks super professional and stands out far and above the other comments that are going to be on these posts that say DM me, bro, or whatever. They, you'll
Yeah.
see that. I mean, we laugh, but somebody will be like, "I'm looking for a handyman. Anybody know a reliable one?" And somebody will put in the comment, "PM me" or "PM'd you." It's like,
Yeah.
so it's just super unprofessional. And so if you have that nice digital business card with your nice professional website and something that's low pressure, like, hey, yeah, I do this type of work. Would love to have a conversation. Here's how to reach out. Whatever it looks like. Um, but again, keeping in mind, end goal is you want other people in this group to be recommending you, because it means so much more when somebody else recommends you versus you recommending yourself.
Hmm.
Obviously, there's the psychological thing there. And so this initial strategy of making these posts and responding to these comments and stuff doesn't mean you have to stop doing that, but you start getting some of these clients from these groups. Chances are somebody needs a handyman in the future in that group. That person that hired you in the past from the group, they might leave your name there, and that's super effective. And even better, getting on a little bit of a tangent here, but after you work for those clients and they came from a Facebook group, if they're super happy and they're going to leave you a Google review, ask if they'll shout you out in the Facebook group also. Like, hey,
Hmm.
Kobe just did some work for me at my house. You're super awesome. If you need handyman work, it means a ton coming from one of your clients. So that's kind of first thing. I went on a tangent, but the goal is you want other people to be referring you in these groups, not just yourself trying to promote yourself,
Yeah.
as kind of an end goal. As far as a time commitment thing, especially when you're getting started, like you've got, you have debt when you're starting this business. I'm stealing this idea from Alex Ramosi. I didn't think of this, but you have to pay a debt to grow your business, and you're either going to pay it with capital. You're going to run paid ads or whatever it looks like to pay for your marketing, or you're going to spend time on it. It's either going to be capital or time. If you don't have the money to be running the paid ads and whatever else at the beginning, especially, you have the time, right? Like if you need to get jobs, you have the time to be doing the marketing, because you're not out on a project, right?
Mhm.
And so, sorry, go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, no, Facebook's that's why I'm a huge advocate, is because it just involves some time. And you don't have to overthink the content on these posts, guys. Just talk about the projects that you're doing and then have a nod to, how someone could contact you. I can't overemphasize the importance of a personal photo, like you in front of the job site, family photo, if it's really just a direct advertisement for your business. It doesn't have to be like just the most ultra professional, super modern graphic design thing. And so if you're part of, say, 5 different groups, you would literally just copy and paste the same post, upload the same photo to all the groups. It's that simple. You can share a post to to groups. So you can technically make a post to your personal page and then share it across whatever hundreds of business or Facebook groups. But the impressions, the visibility you'll get from a share is way, way lower. So that's where it's important to actually log into the group, make copy and paste your post in there, upload the photo, and fire it off into, 3, 5 groups, whatever. So if you think about how much time it's going to take to write that, upload the photo, copy and paste it to 5 groups. I mean, you're talking like less than 10 minutes, especially when you just don't overthink this thing. Just get into that flow every week, do this post. And then, as Kobe mentioned, like over time, that's where the value is. You'll start picking up clients in there that are going to recommend you. You're going to see the post that someone's looking for recommendations, and clients recommending you. And then in those posts that are looking for a handyman or looking for help with a project that you could do, make a comment that's professional, that you also upload a photo to your comment. The photos will bump your comment, very likely to be the featured comment because it's got media, it's got a photo in there. And so if you have like a nice headshot, personal photo, family photo, you like in front of your yard sign or a house with your professional shirt, looking bright and happy and professional, that is going to stand out. um, and so cannot overemphasize the importance of personal photo, like a bright smiley face. At the end of the day, Facebook's algorithm, it's just an algorithm. It's scanning. Whenever it's got a face, a smiley face, that matches what people engage with. And so it's going to prioritize your post. It's going to prioritize your comment in the algorithm. So I cannot overemphasize personal photos when you're using Facebook. And then the last note I've got here is that lead quality may vary. Most of your leads in there, like any other, like just your whole business, like maybe 80, 90% of your market is not going to be a good client if you're charging above average market rates. So with Facebook groups, there's a lot of tire kickers. There's lots of people looking for really cheap labor, and that's okay. There's always going to be that. If you're conducting yourself in a professional way, you've got a nice professional website, the branded polo shirt, the way you conduct yourself in the post is written, the comment, people know right away you're not going to be the cheapest in town. And on the flip side of that, your ideal prospects are going to see that comment, see that post, and be like, wow, I didn't know there was such a thing as this professional handyman. Like I've got a nice home. I've got my kids. I take care of my parents. Whatever the situation is, this home is a sacred place, and your ideal clients want someone they can trust. So conduct yourself in a way that appeals to them, and know that you will get people that just don't align with your pricing. We could go into the weeds on, making sure you have a really clear minimum pricing, so you're not spending too much time with tire kickers who are never going to pay your price. That's a different conversation for strategies to weed out tire kickers and save your time. But when it comes to Facebook groups, like most lead sources, the lead quality is going to vary. Just make sure you're setting up a process as you start getting higher lead flow, and not spending too much time with those tire kickers. But you are going to appeal to the great quality clients. They're going to see you as a professional and not the cheapest in town. And that's who they're looking for, because they want someone that's going to show up on time, do quality work, take great care of their house, and be reliable to, call back for future projects.
Yeah, yeah, and you'll get a sense of what groups are going to have the higher quality prospects
Mm-hmm.
as time goes on. I had exceptionally great luck with, like I said, with these Facebook groups, and there was a few in particular that we have better results with than others. But I did not notice much of a difference in lead quality between leads that came from Facebook groups, organic Facebook, versus Google. That's going to vary based on the group and based on your area and what your posts look like, all of that stuff. But I had exceptionally good luck with it. The same can't be said for paid ads on Facebook. That we did that for a brief period of time, and our lead quality is really low. I at the time also didn't know how to run Facebook ads. That could be a factor. But especially again, once you get people that are referring you in the group, other people are referring you. If you've been in business for any period of time, you start to realize that referrals, broadly speaking, are some of the best quality clients, and some
Mm-hmm.
of the easiest sales are people that were referred by a peer, because there's some of that inherent trust there. And so that's kind of the end goal, is to get those referrals. But that doesn't mean once you start getting those referrals, you just, completely stop and you're not posting in Facebook anymore. I did it the entire time of business. I never stopped doing it. There was times I did it more, times I did it less. And we started getting more and more referrals in those groups over time. But if there was ever, even when we had the awesome website and marketing and leads were rolling in and we were, largely consistent. If there was ever a dip in our sales, or like we had like a gap in our schedule, I was hammering Facebook groups. I'd spend an hour and I would post in all of the groups. And I can't think of a time where that didn't drum up enough work to kind of get us through to the next, the next cycle.
Mhm.
So it's kind of a lever you can pull. It's one of those things that you can. It's like you put in the legwork and you're going to get the results. Sometimes it can feel like your marketing is like this ethereal thing that's like, especially if you're working with an agency, like you're not always 100% sure like what's going on, and you're not having much input in it, and so there is that dip. You don't feel like you can you don't feel like you can do something about it. You kind of feel helpless if you're short on leads, short on work. But the Facebook groups is always something that was like, I know if I spend some time on this, I'm gonna get something. Um,
Yeah.
and so I think that's why I feel so strongly about it, because it was always something that when I needed it to work, leads would come through. And a lot of times it was people that we had worked for in the past, and then they saw a post, and it was their reminder, like, oh yeah, we needed that done. Let's call.
Yeah.
Facebook groups are super powerful. And then the last thing I'll say is, over time, the strategy kind of transitioned away from making these sort of like ad type posts where I'm trying to advertise my service. We started doing a little bit more organic content on Facebook, educational type content. And so I recorded some videos about like what to look for in a contractor in this town. And it was a video basically saying like, these are the licenses that are required, this is the type of stuff that you should be looking for, and I'd post that in the groups.
Mhm.
um, and it helps kind of become that authority figure, like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about, this is helpful, this is what I should be looking for. And uncoincidentally, we happen to fit all the criteria of what a good contractor was in there too. And so if you can create content like that that doesn't make people feel like they're being sold, but still builds that trust and still gets you in front of people, that can be super.
Yeah, good point. And that's any listeners that have multiple trucks on the road and looking for other avenues. And the whole general Facebook group posting is pretty straightforward, and you've got that dialed in. Building like helpful content that is going to create authority for your business in the market space is productive. If any of our clients are listening of Handyman Marketing Pros and you're answering client questions with content, let us know. We can create an FAQ page. It's really effective for SEO, answering people's questions, building authority. It's like kind of the expert in your industry, in your market. And to that note, Facebook groups, it's one lever that can be pulled. It's a valuable one. Big believer in the consistency of that. Um, is it the standalone option? No. Supplementing that with nice website, SEO, building rankings in Google, AI, repeat clients, email marketing, all these different things that all work together to shore up a steady flow of really great quality clients and jobs is super important. How much of that you need is going to depend on your size, but for most, nice website, SEO, Google rankings, Google reviews, absolutely pivotal to not only get traction from Facebook. It's like this little spike, right? When you get the post in, or you get recommended by, some pivotal members, that the post gets shared quite a bit. We've experienced that in our business. Someone make a post about great results for us, and we'll see a huge influx in leads. But that wave comes. Now, the value of a general marketing strategy online with website, SEO, Google is that, the wave comes, but you're kind of constantly on that upward rise, right? Attracting new clients, getting that repeat business in the door, getting those referrals. And you can see how over time your base floor of repeat jobs and referrals is going to go up and up and up and up and up. And then when you add in ongoing Facebook posts, SEO, it just builds traction over time. Where even if you're an owner operator, you work that marketing muscle for 12, 24 months at the most. And as an owner operator, you're going to be incredibly busy with all that activity. So cannot understate the importance of a comprehensive marketing approach, not just one tactic.
Yeah, absolutely. If anything, you said supplementing with the the good SEO and all the other marketing stuff. If anything, the Facebook group thing is the supplemental.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
If anything. Most of this is to say, like your website just got up and rolling, and it takes time to build authority on Google and all of that stuff. It's You're not helpless. Like when we're talking about grassroots, most of the time we're not talking about like going and canvassing a neighborhood and knocking on doors like you're a solar guy, right? Like we're this is the legwork that you can do is posting. This is just one of the things you can do is posting in these Facebook groups. Yard signs are important. If you've got lettering on your truck, even better. Website and a Google business profile, all of that stuff is important. And there's my opinion, and I'm sure you do too. You have an opinion too, Jason. There's a hierarchy. Facebook would be closer to the top as far as like organic legwork type stuff that you could do. But definitely it's a supplemental thing. And it's a great way. Like if you've got no projects, you're just getting started, and you don't have a way to pay for a professional website and that sort of thing yet. It's a great way to kind of get your feet off the ground and start running is these Facebook groups. But I would not expect to do just Facebook groups and be able to build a long-term sustainable client base
Yeah.
or anything like that. It's not a comprehensive marketing strategy. But I will say, obviously, we work with Handyman marketing pros. To the best of my recollection, I could pull it up, but last year I complete data was 2024, and we got about 60-ish% of our revenue. So not total leads, but revenue. So actual sold projects came from Google Business Profile and website. I didn't have it broken down between the two, but 60-ish% from Google, 20-ish% was organic Facebook, no paid ads. I was posting on our Facebook page and mostly in Facebook groups. And then that last 20% was split between um, repeat clients, referrals from past clients, and referrals from vendors, and somebody saw a yard sign, all the little stuff that kind of adds up. But 20% of your revenue from something that takes 20 minutes a week,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, it's a great point. And early on, it's a higher percentage, but that's where like website SEO starts to build up and becomes that lion's share because there is higher quality leads and clients that are to be found through Google and pre-qualifying through the website. Um, so
yeah.
great
And
stuff there, Kobe. Any kind of final thoughts on the Facebook group marketing strategy?
I was just to kind of put it into perspective. So 2024 was we did about 550,000 give or take, and so 20% of that is what 110,000
Yeah.
in top line revenue from, again, no paid ads on Facebook, from posting organically in Facebook groups. So not insignificant.
Yeah, that's great stuff, man. One final variable too that is valuable for Facebook groups and Facebook in general is that it is becoming an increasing kind of ranking signal for AI platforms and for Google. Um, the theory there is someone that's active on social media, they're getting referred, recommended publicly, and that's it'll be indexed. There's a lot of brand authority, a lot of like ranking authority that can be attributed uh, to these algorithms because it makes sense. If someone's got great reviews, nice website, they're also getting mentions through social media, making content. It's becoming a more important kind of ranking signal relative to the last. I mean, Facebook posting has never really been much of a ranking signal until the last year or two as AI platforms have come about. So I don't want to go in the weeds. That's a future episode, but there is some SEO ranking, AI optimization value in being active on Facebook and groups that are public, as in those posts can be publicly indexed and not private locked behind a membership. Those also are valuable to get mentions in and make posts in that just show that activity coming from your company. Awesome. Well, I'm going to stop there, or else I'm going to dive in the weeds on social media as it relates to SEO. Thank you guys for joining us. If you have any comments, leave us a comment, give us a like and subscribe. All the usual stuff. We really appreciate your support, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Home Hero Podcast, brought to you by Handyman Marketing Pros.